cold air hung thick with tension, carrying the bite of storm and the restless beat of 100 hearts. The great hall should have echoed with laughter, music, and the warmth of shared hunts, but instead, silence ruled. Every wolf stood stiff and watchful, heads bowed beneath the weight of something dangerous in the air. I stood near the back, fingers curled around Rowan's sleeve as he guided me to the wall. "Here," my brother murmured, squeezing my hand once. "Stay against the stones, Lyra. The Alpha King is not calm." Understatement. Even from across the hall, I felt him. A pressure in the air, heavy and crackling, like thunder trapped in a ribcage. The closer his aura rolled, the more spines bent. Omegas whimpered. Betas swallowed hard. Alphas lowered their eyes. I tilted my head, listening. Steps. Slow. Controlled. Each one carefully leashed violence. 3 scouts, someone whispered near us. Torn apart on our border. The Emberfall pack sent all over them. Kale will burn them for it. Another answered. The Alpha King won't overlook blood. Not after his brother. So that's what this was. Not just fury. Grief sharpened to a blade. My fingers brushed the leather cord at my throat, the small riverstone pendant my grandmother had pressed into my palm the night she died. "You see different," she told me. "Not with eyes. With the quiet places." I was an Omega. And blind. Easy to overlook. Easy to pity. But I could feel hearts. Hear lies. Taste the shape of a room in the way people breathed. The hall went utterly silent. The Alpha King had reached the dais. "Raise your heads," he said. The voice went through me like cold iron in water, deep, rough, threaded with something close to breaking. Every wolf obeyed. I kept my chin lifted though I saw nothing at all. And still, I felt his rage like a storm looking for a tree to split. "Tell me," Kale Rowan said, "how many times I must watch my people die while you counselors say wait?" He wasn't shouting. That was the worst part. His anger was precise, honed. An alpha's command laced every word, a king's authority made the air itself bow. "Our scouts were slaughtered," he continued. "Their throats torn out. Emberfalls sent thick on them. Their tracks led straight home to that pack's gates. And you want restraint? My king," Elder Joran tried. "Emberfall claims they were framed. They ask for time too." "Framed?" Kale's laugh held no humor. "Convenient." The pressure of his aura spiked. Wolves around me flinched. A low whine rose at the edge of hearing, instinctive submission. I couldn't see him, but I knew he'd moved, knew by the shift of breath and boot sound that the Alpha King had stepped down from the dais, walking among them like a judgment. Beside me, Rowan's arms shook. "Breathe," I whispered. "Lyra, don't talk," he hissed. "Don't draw his attention. You don't feel it like we do. He's barely holding on." I did feel it. Differently. Underneath the fury, something raw and splintered. A wound that never closed. "You will send word to ready your warriors," Kale said. "At dawn, we march on Emberfall territory. They'll answer in blood." A ripple of terror moved through the hall. War. I tasted copper on my tongue, my stomach twisted. Somewhere near the dais someone forced themselves to speak. "My king, if they are innocent, then they should not reek of my dead," Kale snapped. The rage rolled again, hot and suffocating. Wolves dropped to their knees. My ears rang. He's going to break, I thought. And if the Alpha King breaks, the packs tear each other apart. My pendant burned suddenly warm against my skin. No. Before Rowan could stop me, I slipped from his grasp and stepped away from the wall. "Lyra!" he hissed. "Don't." But my feet already knew where I was going, drawn to the storm at the center of the hall. The crowd parted because his aura made them. Or maybe because no one expected a small blind Omega to walk straight at an enraged Alpha King. Boots scraped. Cloaks brushed. Every breath seemed to hold the same words. "What is she doing?" I followed the heat, the static, the pull in my chest. "Who approaches?" Kale's voice dropped, sharp as a hooked claw. Lyra of Hollow Ridge, someone answered warily. Omega born. She's blind, sire. Pay her no. I didn't ask what she is. The Alpha King cut in. I asked who? I stopped when the air between us turned molten and close. My heart punched against my ribs, but my chin stayed up. Your Majesty, I said quietly. You're shaking, he observed. Wise. The packs are bound to your temper, I replied, before fear could strangle the words. If you shatter, they bleed. A collective inhale. An Omega correcting a king. Turn back, Rowan begged from somewhere behind me. Lyra, please. Kale stepped closer. I felt the shadow of him, the weight of a predator considering prey. Tell me, little Omega, he said softly. What do you know of dead brothers and murdered scouts? Nothing, I answered. But I know what happens when grief chooses war before truth. Silence crashed down. You question my judgment. I question your timing, I said. If Emberfall is guilty, they'll hang by their own rope. But if they're not and you burn them anyway, then the Alpha King is the one who slaughters innocents. Gasps. A hissed curse. Someone whispered that I'd signed my death. He moved. I felt his hand catch my jaw, callous fingers firm but not cruel, tilting my blind eyes up toward his unseen face. And what can a blind Omega possibly see that I cannot? He murmured. Your pain, I whispered. And the way it's driving you toward anything that lets you hurt something back. For a long heartbeat, he said nothing. Then, colder. Everyone. Out. Panic tore through the hall at his order. My king! No! Kale snapped. Footsteps scrambled. Doors groaned. In breaths, the vast space emptied. Their scents dragged away on a draft of terror, until only two remained. The Alpha King. And me. His fingers were still on my jaw, thumb resting where my pulse betrayed me. You're either fearless, he said low, or too naive to value your life. I value theirs, I replied. If I fail, only one Omega dies. If no one speaks, hundreds will. Silence settled heavier than his aura. You stand before an Alpha King, he reminded me. I could end you with a thought. I know. My voice thinned. But you won't. And why is that? Because the male who carries that much grief is not eager to add an Omega girl's blood to it, I said. Not just to prove he's angry. Something flickered. Less storm, more startled breath. What do you want from me, Lyra of Hollow Ridge? A pause, I said. 3 days. Investigate Emberfall properly. If the scent and tracks hold, if they lie, then call war with a clear mind instead of a wounded one. You dare bargain. I dare ask you not to become the monster they'll call you. My pendant pulsed hot. His hand tightened once, then fell away. 3 days, Kale said at last. If nothing proves their innocence, we ride at dawn on the 4th. You've just chained my fury, Omega. Pray it was not a mistake. I exhaled shakily. Thank you, my king. Don't thank me yet, he murmured. You've made yourself unforgettable. He stepped closer. I felt his breath against my skin. And that, Kale added, voice almost curious, is dangerous. 3 days turned the kingdom on its edge. Messengers flew. Trackers combed the borders. Crows carried rumors faster than any wolf. I tried to vanish back into Hollow Ridge, but vanishing was harder after you talked down an Alpha King. Everyone's staring, Rowan muttered as we walked the muddy lane. It's like you grew horns. Or teeth. Someone else added not quietly. The blind Omega bewitched him. A woman whispered. No one speaks to a king like that and lives. I hunched, fingers on my pendant. I hadn't bewitched anyone. I'd only told the truth no one else wanted to say. On the second night, Elder Jorin came to our small house. The king asked where you sleep, he said grudgingly. I went cold. Why? He didn't say. Only that he'd return when the trackers reported. A pause. Lyra, if you angered him past. He gave his word, I said softly. He'll honor it. I wanted that to be true. Dawn of the third day broke gray and raw. I sat on our step, listening to the forest breathe around the village, when hooves thundered over stone. Kale's scent, storm rain, steel, wild pine, hit me a moment before his voice. Lyra! My stomach did something treacherous. Your Majesty. Kale, he corrected. The familiarity snagged my breath. I am not. Say it, he insisted, and I heard a tired smile hiding in the command. Just once. You've earned that much. Kale, I whispered. He exhaled slowly. Emberfall is cleared. The killers were rogues hired by someone else, leaving false trails. You were right. Relief loosened my spine. I guessed, I said. That's all. You listened, he countered, when everyone else fed my anger. A rustle of cloak as he stepped closer. That makes you inconvenient. I'm sorry? I'm not. His tone shifted lower. Come ride with me. I stiffened. I can't leave Hollowridge. You can for a day, Kale said. There's something I need to understand. And I can't do it from a throne. His aura wrapped close, expectant. Against all sense I stood. Riding with the Alpha King should have been terrifying. In truth, the most frightening part was how steady I felt. He lifted me easily into the saddle before him. My hands caught leather and the hard plane of armor. Warmth radiated from his chest along my back, a living wall. Comfortable? He asked. No. A soft huff of amusement brushed my ear. Hold on. We rode until the village noise vanished, trading it for forest hush and raven calls. The horse's rhythm settled. The world became breath, heartbeat, and the subtle shift of Kale's body as he guided us along some unseen trail. Why me? I asked at last. You have seers. Advisors. Alphas older than mountains. None of them walked into my rage, he said. And none of them turned it aside. He reined in. The horse stilled. The clearing around us felt open, the air cooler. Tell me what you sense now, Kale said quietly. I focused. His grief still lurked deep and cracked. But today it sat beside something else, curiosity. Unease. A tethered softness he didn't know where to put. Less storm, I murmured. More restless. Restless, he repeated. And confused. His hand came to rest over mine on the saddle horn. The night I nearly ordered a war, he said. You came to me again. After I cleared the hall. I frowned. No. I left when you told them to. I would have remembered staying. Silence. You don't, he said slowly. Interesting. Don't what? Nothing, he deflected. Yet. Annoyance pricked. If you brought me all this way to half-explain things. I brought you because I cannot stop thinking about you, Kale said simply. The words struck like an arrow I hadn't braced for. I am Alpha King to 5 packs, he went on. I buried my brother. Broken traitors. Endured a year of fury so constant I no longer remembered quiet. Yet one blind Omega walks through it, and suddenly I can breathe. My heart hammered. That doesn't make sense. No, he agreed. Which is exactly why I refused to let it go. The air turned fragile. I'm no one, I said. I can't shift properly, I trip over firewood, I can't even pour tea without. You walk to me without seeing, Kale interrupted. With every other wolf drowning in my aura, you moved like you'd followed that anger your whole life. I followed your hurt, slipped out. His thumb brushed the back of my hand, slow. I spent a year wishing everyone would stop pretending not to notice it, I added. So I said what no one else would. And then you vanished when I asked you to stay, he said dryly. Apparently, we both misremember. Heat crept up my neck. I left when you dismissed the hall. No, he said softly. You came back. Eyes white as snow. You touched my face. Spoke words I didn't know. Then you kiss me. The world narrowed to the beat of my own pulse. I did not, I protested, appalled. I bled less afterward, Cale went on. Inside. The rage quieted for the first time since my brother's death. I don't mistake mercy when I feel it. I don't remember. I whispered. I believe you, he said. Which means something older than us is playing games. My fingers clutched my pendant. Some omegas are born spirit-marked, he continued. So the old songs say. Balanced to an alpha who would otherwise drown in his own power. Blind to this world, but not to the next. Stories, I muttered. Perhaps, Cale said. But when I look at you, when you're near, my wolf settles. And when I imagine releasing you back to Hollowridge as if you were no more than a lucky interruption, everything in me refuses. His hand tightened gently. I am not asking for an answer, he said. I am telling you the truth. Whatever woke when you touched me, Lyra, has its claws in my soul. And I do not let go of what steadies me. The words hung like a vow. I swallowed. Then what am I supposed to do? Come to the capital, he said. Lend me your strange sight. Help me find the ones who hired those rogues. And see if what binds us is curse, legend, or choice. The capital. Stone spires. Crowded streets. Courts that chewed omegas for sport. I can't, I said reflexively. You can't, Cale answered. You're afraid. Yes. Good. It means you're not reckless. A wry sound left him. I'll be honest, I suspect someone within my own council ordered the killings, he said. The false scent, the timing, the way they push for war that only weakens us. I need someone they won't see coming. An omega, I said bitterly. Blind and breakable. Unthreatening, Cale corrected. They'll speak freer around you. You'll hear what I miss. You're using me as bait. I'm asking you to stand where you already stepped once, he countered. Between a king and his worst decisions. The horse shifted. So did something in my chest. What if you're wrong about me? I whispered. What if there's nothing special here, and I'm just a foolish girl who got lucky once? Then I will have made a mistake, he said. And it will be mine, not yours. But my instincts are not often wrong. His voice dipped. And neither, it seems, are yours. I hated that my heart leapt at the rough fondness in his tone. Rowan will lose his mind, I muttered. He can come as escort if he wishes, Cale said easily. Hollowridge gains royal favor. Your pack stands under my direct protection. You gain the chance to find what that kiss, remembered or not, awakened in you. I flinched at the word. Stop bringing that up. No, he said. Because whether you recall or not, it is bound into this. Into us. Us. The clearing felt very small. Say yes, Lyra, the Alpha King murmured at my ear. If I'm wrong, you may spit in my face and go home. If I'm right, then fate handed me my omega in a village hall, and I'll fight every council in the kingdom before I let you slip away. My throat burned. Fine, I whispered. On one condition. Name it. You swear you'll hear me when I say stop. King or not? Alpha or not? He went silent for a long moment. I swear, Cale said. By my crown, by my wolf, and by whatever spirits decided to tangle us. You say stop, I stop. Then, yes. Leaving Hollowridge felt like peeling skin. Rowan loaded saddlebags with more force than necessary. I don't like this, he muttered for the 5th time. You don't like anything, I reminded him. I don't like him taking you. He's not stealing me, I said. I agreed. Because he's the Alpha King, Rowan snapped. And because you want to fix everything broken in everyone. I flinched. That's not fair. He sighed, shoulders sagging. Maybe not. Just remember who you were before he said your name, Lyra. Blind Omega. Burden. Quiet. I didn't say it out loud. Kale waited at the edge of the village with a small escort, helm tucked under one arm. His aura sat tighter now, leashed iron, but when I approached, it eased, subtle as a breath. He noticed. I knew he did. Ready? He asked. No, I said. But here. He laughed softly. Honest. Keep that. Court will hate it. He helped me mount before him again. When his arms settled around me, the rest of the world thinned. We rode 3 days. Through whispering pines and open moors, through rain that slicked his armor and soaked my braid. At night, we camped ringed by guards. I lay awake listening to Kale pace slow circles like a caged wolf. On the second night, he paused near my bedroll. Can you sleep? He asked quietly. Not when someone's wearing grooves in the earth. A low huff. Then softer. When you calmed me in the hall, he said. I dreamed for the first time in months without waking in a rage. I told you, I don't remember. I know, he cut in gently. I'm not asking you to defend it. Only telling you, since then, every time my anger spikes past sense, I feel your hand on my face. Even when you're not there. That's unhealthy, I muttered. That's a bond, he answered. The word hung between us, dangerous. He retreated before I could respond. The capital assaulted every sense I had left. Clanging forges. Shouted bargains. Spice and sweat and horses and stone. I folded in on myself instinctively. Kale's arm tightened around my waist. Anchor on me, he murmured. You're safe. I did. His heartbeat was a drum against my spine. His scent cut through the chaos like a familiar song. We climbed stone ramps and echoing stairs until the sounds dampened, replaced by measured footsteps and polished hall hush. Open the east wing blue suite, Kale ordered. It's hers. A servant sputtered. Sire, that's within. I know where it is, he said. Move. He led me through tall doors into a space that felt wide but not empty, cool air smelling of beeswax and rain coming. This will be your den, Kale said more quietly. You're 2 doors from mine. Guards posted. No one enters without permission. That'll fuel gossip, I muttered. Good, he said. Let them choke on it. While they watch you for the wrong reasons, they might show me the right ones. Using me again. Protecting you, he corrected. And weaponizing rumor at once. Efficiency. I snorted despite myself. He stepped closer. I could feel him studying me. If you wish to turn back, this is the last easy moment, he said. After tomorrow's council, they'll all have opinions. So will you, I said. If my so-called gift fails. I already do, Kale replied. And it won't. His knuckles brushed mine, brief and careful, as if touching something holy. Rest, he added. Tomorrow, we hunt traitors. And though he didn't say it, we'd test whether the blind Omega truly belonged at the Alpha King's side, or whether he'd woven an obsession from grief and myth. Morning arrived with a knock and the rustle of too many fabrics. May I come in, my lady? A warm female voice asked. I sat up on the unfamiliar mattress, feeling for the edge. You already did by the sound of it. A soft laugh. I'm Mira. Beta. Assigned as your attendant. A pause. By the king himself. Of course he had. Mira moved with gentle efficiency, pressing a warm cloth into my hands, describing the basin, the wardrobe, the way the room was laid out. She spoke as if to someone who mattered. Everyone's buzzing, she said as she fastened the back of my gown. About the blind Omega given the blue suite. About how the Alpha King rode with you instead of ahead of you. That's their problem, I muttered. It becomes yours when they start sharpening knives, she said frankly. Court doesn't like surprises. Or Omegas near crowns. Comforting. She squeezed my shoulder. Some of us are very interested to see them choke on their rules. By the time Kale arrived, my hair was braided up, my riverstone pendant resting stubbornly against expensive cloth. He paused in the doorway. I felt his gaze like heat. You wear the stone, he said. It's mine, I replied. The silk is yours. We compromise. He huffed. Come. Council waits. He offered his arm. I took it, letting him lead me through a maze of corridors until a low murmur swelled ahead. He leaned in as heavy doors began to creak open. Remember, Cale murmured. Just listen. As if I could do anything else, I whispered back. The council chamber smelled of beeswax, ink, and restrained ego. Chairs scraped as they rose. My lords, my ladies, Cale said, voice all king now. This is Lyra of Hollow Ridge. She aided in averting a wrongful war. She will observe. Observe. Not explain. Not justified. Just there. A man's voice, velvety and edged. Curious choice of advisor, Your Majesty. Lord Vance, Cale replied mildly. You prefer flatterers. I prefer results. A woman spoke next, silk over steel. We are honored to have any ally of the Alpha Kingdom among us, of course. Lady Celine. Ambitious, but her scent carried no rot. Warped rose, not poison. As they began to review reports, I let their words fade, searching for the currents beneath. Lord Bram's voice shook when supply lines were mentioned, fear, but scattered, not focused. Innocent of this, perhaps. Lord Corran's pulse spiked each time Cale referenced the border forts. Guilt? Or nerves? Two others snagged my attention. Lord Erasmus, every time rogues or hired blades were mentioned, his breathing deepened, steadying too deliberately. His scent sharpened with metal and cold coin. Practiced. Lady Mora, silent, but tension coiled sharp whenever Cale spoke of loyalty inside these walls. Her perfume couldn't mask the sour bite of adrenaline. It is evident these attacks are external, Erasmus declared. We must show strength. Close our borders. Expand your private guard, my king. That's one answer, Cale said. You disagree? Erasmus pressed. I'm listening, Cale replied. To more than words. His fingers brushed mine under the table. Once. Question. I squeezed back twice. Yes. Watch him. When the council dismissed, whispers followed us to the corridor like gnats. Behind the closed door of a smaller strategy room, Cale's restraint dropped a fraction. Well? He asked. I leaned against the edge of the table, grounding myself. Bram is afraid of failing, not betraying, I said slowly. Celine wants influence, not your blood. Corran thinks too loudly to hide anything serious. But Erasmus, I continued, shapes himself around every question. Hearts too steady when they shouldn't be. That's a man used to lying for coin. And Mora, she tightens when you mention traitors. Not guilt, exactly. Fear of being seen near them. Cale paced once, boots studding. I've suspected Erasmus for months. He admitted. Funding changes. Private riders. You've just put weight where I needed it. Weight is not proof. I reminded him. No. His gaze burned. Which is why tonight we set a hook. I frowned. Tonight? There's a welcome banquet for the envoys arriving tomorrow, he said. We go ahead. We celebrate. We make it known I'll share my travel plans to the Northern Watchtower. You don't share them, though, I said. Of course not, he replied. But traitors who think they know where my neck will be, move. We watch who they talk to. Who sends ravens. Who slips away. And my part? Stay at my side, Cale said simply. Let them think you're a weakness. Listen when they lean too close. I bristled. A weakness? Let them be arrogant, he murmured. Nothing blinds like underestimating an Omega. His aura brushed mine, warm thunder. Lyra. Thank you for not flinching from this, he said. I'm too tired to flinch, I answered. And a little curious whether your faith in me is going to ruin us. He actually laughed. If we fall, Cale said, we fall loud. Night painted the palace in music and lies. Myra's hands were swift as she fastened a dark gown that smelled of new cloth and nerves. They wanted you in emeralds, she said. He overruled them. Said midnight blue suited you. Of course he did, I muttered, fingers finding my pendant. Still there. Still mine. When Cale came, the air shifted before his boots reached the threshold. Ready? He asked. No, I said again. Consistent, he approved. The great hall roared when we entered. Clattering cutlery, laughter, clashing scents. All dimmed when the Alpha King's presence swelled, then twisted anew when he laid his hand possessively over mine and escorted me up to the dais. Whispers rose like smoke. That's her. Omega. Blind. Blue sweet. Cale sat. I felt him lean, lips close to my ear. Breathe, he murmured. Count heartbeats. Start with mine. Arrogant wolf. Helpful wolf. I focused. His heart, steady, strong. Around us, counselors spoke with honeyed voices, envoys bragged, glasses chimed. Erasmus approached to offer a toast. His aura felt controlled. Too controlled. To unity, he said. And to our kings. Unconventional wisdom. Mora lingered behind him, tension nodded. Later I caught scraps. Leaving at dawn. Northern watchtower, lightly guarded. Opportunity. Each time Cale, carelessly, mentioned his false route, Erasmus' attention sharpened, then smoothed. Someone's biting. I whispered. I feel teeth. Cale answered. Keep listening. Near the end of the feast, the pressure in the room changed an instant before a cup was set in front of him. From Lord Erasmus' private cask, Your Majesty. A servant announced. My skin went cold. Don't. I murmured. Cale's fingers had already closed around the goblet. He hesitated. Just enough. The scent hit me first. Beneath the spice and wine, bitter almond, sharp and wrong. That's poisoned, I said, louder than intended. The hall froze. Erasmus scoffed. An Omega's nose now rules our table? I reached blindly, hand closing over Cale's wrist. His pulse jumped. Don't drink it, I whispered. Please. He held my gaze though I could not see it. Then, very calmly, he set the goblet aside. An interesting claim, Cale said. Test it. The royal taster stepped forward quickly, too quickly. My skin crawled. Not him. I snapped. He already knew. A murmur rippled. The taster went pale. Guards, Cale said, voice turned lethal. Collect both. The cup and the man. Steel rasped. But treachery rarely comes alone. Behind us, a chair crashed. Someone lunged. I heard the whistle of a blade, the shout. For the true bloodline. Impact. Pain-strangled breath. Not mine. Cale's. The hall erupted. Cale! I dropped with him as his body hit the stone, hot wetness blooming under my palms when they found his side. Stay back! Someone yelled. Protect the king! Boots, roars, metal. I tuned it out. Look at me! I breathed. Hard, he grunted. Missed anything vital. I think. His words slurred. Burns. Poisoned blade. I swallowed terror. Hold on. Don't. He tried to catch my wrist, but I was already pressing my palm over the wound, gripping my pendant in the other hand until it dug into bone. Spirits, I whispered, not knowing who I called. If you put me in his path, help me now. Something answered. Heat surged from the stone into my veins, then out through my palm in a rush that stole my breath. Darkness behind my eyes cracked, not into human sight, but into threads of color and shape that didn't belong to any normal sense. I saw the poison, oily black running in lines beneath Cale's skin, reaching hungrily for his heart. No, I snarled. Old words rose, not my own. My mouth shaped them anyway. Golden light, warm, wild, poured from my hand and chased the black. Each place it burned through, Pain flared in my own body like echoing cuts. Lyra! Kale gasped. Enough. Shut up, I whispered, shaking. You swore to listen when I say stop. I didn't. His fingers found mine, tried to pull them away. Failed. Around us, the hall's chaos dimmed to a roar at the edges. I clung to the poison's trail, forcing it back, unraveling it strand by strand until only stubborn flecks remained. One last push. The black shattered. The strange sight blinked out. My knees buckled. The world tipped. Strong arms caught me. Got you, Kale rasped, dragging me against his chest. His aura, which moments ago had guttered, flared strong again, wrapping me in heat and command. She's fainted. What did she? His color, his scent, the poison. I'm fine, Kale snarled. She is not. He lifted me, one arm under my knees, one at my back, as if I weighed nothing. Cradled against him, I heard his heartbeat. Steady. Clean. It was the last thing I registered before darkness took me properly. I woke to quiet. Soft sheets, the smell of the blue sweet, muted voices beyond the door. And Kale's aura close. Pretending to sleep won't make me leave, he said. I groaned. Yell at the assassins instead of the half-conscious Omega. Already did, he replied. 2 dead. Erasmus in chains. The taster turned. Mora named 3 more. The poison in the cup matched the blade. A pause. You burned it out of me. I didn't know if I could, I admitted, fingers finding my pendant. It was warm as blood. I did, he said quietly. Arrogant. True. You look different, he continued. Your eyes. Glowing white. The stories speak of spirit-marked Omegas that way. Stop calling me that, I muttered. It sounds like a prophecy and I hate those. He moved closer. The mattress dipped as he sat. His hand brushed mine, gentle. I won't parade you as a miracle, Kale said. But they already whisper. The blind Omega who muzzled a king and stole death from his veins. Told you court like knives. They can choke on them, he said. I owe you my life, Lyra. That's not a debt I take lightly. I didn't do it so you'd owe me, I said. I did it because the kingdom needs its alpha king. And because... I trailed off, heat creeping up. Because? He pressed, voice softer. Because the thought of you not being here hurt. I snapped. There. Satisfied? He went very still. Yes, Kale said. More than you know. The following days were a blur of interrogations and corrections. The assassins had been part of a slow-growing rot. Minor lords promised more power if Kale fell, if the throne could be bent. Erasmus had bankrolled rogue packs, Mora had ferried messages, others had looked away for coin. Now they faced the Alpha King's justice. I faced Myra's relentless fussing and a stream of cautious visitors. Lady Celine came first. You understand they will paint you as enchantress or curse, she said frankly. Power like yours frightens them. Good, I said. Fear makes people careful where awe only makes them greedy. She laughed, surprised. You may yet survive this viper pit, Omega. At night, Kale came to the blue suite exhausted. Sometimes we spoke, sometimes he only sat in the quiet while I listened to his breathing even out. One evening, he broke the pattern. We traced Erasmus' coin lines, he said. There are more sympathizers than blades. We'll deal with them. But that's logistics. This is not. This? He took my hand and pressed something cool into my palm. A ring, heavy, carved with a wolf's head crown. I froze. No, I said reflexively. Lyra. I heal you once and suddenly. You've steered me from my worst rage, he said. You've walked into my death and shoved it aside. Every time my wolf reaches for fury, it finds you. Do you think that's common? I think you're making it heavy, I said, hard hammering. It is heavy, Kale replied. Being Alpha King. Being the one anchored to him. You deserve to know exactly what I ask. He drew a breath. I ask you to stand as my equal in the ways that matter. To strike my nose when I'm blinded by anger. To tell me when I'm cruel. To share the weight of every choice. Not as a story trinket. As my mate. The word dropped between us like thunder. Remove the word mate, and it almost sounds reasonable, I said faintly. He huffed. I don't do halfway. I'm blind. I'm Omega. I trip over your stupid palace rugs. My mother was Beta, he said. My father's fiercest counselor was human born with no wolf at all. Rank is a tool, not a destiny. You're king. Everyone will say you're claiming the freak who saved you out of debt. And they'll try to hurt me to get to you, I said. His aura flared, then leashed tight. They already are, he said. With rumors. Slanders. If you stand aside, they'll rewrite you into a footnote. A pretty tale. If you stand beside me, they'll have to face what you are. I don't know what I am, I whispered. Mine, he said simply. Then softer. If you want. No command. Just that. I turned the ring in my fingers. It hummed with old oaths. Do I have time to think? I asked. As much as you need, Kale said at once. Liar. I murmured. You're king. You never have time. For you I make it, he replied. Foolish, foolish heart. Fine, I said. I'll give you an answer. After I speak to Rowan. After I stand in your council chamber one more time and see if this bond is still louder than their scorn. His breath left him in a slow rush. I'll take that, he said. He didn't try to kiss me. Somehow that restraint meant more than if he had. Rowan practically crushed my ribs when he arrived under heavy guard 2 days later. You're alive, he muttered into my hair. He didn't eat you. Not yet, I said. He held me at arm's length. You smell like incense and trouble. Accurate. I told him everything, in a quiet garden away from keen ears, the hall, the clearing, the poison, the strange sight, the ring. When I finished, there was a long pause. You love him, Rowan said. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I hear it. I swallowed. I'm terrified. Good. So is he, Rowan said. You know that, right? The way he watches you like one wrong breeze might take you. I twisted the ring between thumb and forefinger. Do I do it? I asked. You already decided, he said gently. You're just hoping someone else will carry the blame. I hate you, I muttered. No, you don't. That night, the council reconvened, stripped of traitors, diminished but cleaner. I stood at Kale's side without taking the second throne waiting beside his. They addressed defenses, reparations, treaties. No poison. No blades. When it was over, Kale turned to me in the emptying hall. Well? He asked. I took a breath that felt like stepping off a cliff. I won't be your legend, I said. I won't be your excuse. I won't nod along to every decree because you're Alpha King and I'm grateful. Good, he said, eyes burning. But, I continued, I'll be the one who tells you when your fury's aimed at the wrong throat. The one who pulls poison out of your veins and arrogance out of your head. The one who chooses you, not because fate said so, but because I saw you at your worst and still reached out. His jaw clenched. So if you put this ring on me, I finished lifting it. You're binding yourself to that. I am, Kale said. Then do it. He slid the ring onto my finger with hands that shook almost imperceptibly. The bond that snapped into place wasn't a lightning strike. It was a deep, settling exhale through both our bones. Wolves outside howled as if they'd felt it too. My Omega, he murmured. My king, I answered. Now behave. His laugh was raw and bright. And in the humming quiet that followed, I knew I had not tamed the Alpha King's fury. I had given it somewhere to rest. And he, in turn, had given a blind Omega the one thing she'd never expected. A place at the center of the storm, where she was not a burden, not a curse, but the necessary calm that held a kingdom together. Spring came late that year, timid and silver-edged. The snow withdrew from the mountains in slow ribbons, and the forest beyond the castle walls began to hum again, water over stone, wind through thawed pine. I sat in the courtyard garden, sunlight warm on my face, listening to the kingdom breathe after months of silence. It felt alive again. Boot steps approached, steady and familiar. Kale's scent reached me first, rain, smoke, and cedar. I smiled before he spoke. "They're waiting in the hall," he said quietly. "The council, the pax, the envoys. They want to see their king swear peace, and their queen beside him." "Queen," I echoed, almost teasing. "Still sounds strange." "Then we'll keep saying it until it doesn't." He took my hand, guiding me to my feet. His thumb brushed over the small scar near my wrist, a remnant of that night when fury and fate collided. "You could stay here," he added. "Let me handle the ceremony alone." "No," I said firm. "You told me once that an Alpha King doesn't rule by himself. Today the Pax need to see what that means." His grip tightened, reverent. "You still don't see what you've done. I didn't save the world, Kale. I only kept you from burning it." He laughed softly, head lowering until his breath warmed my ear. "That's the same thing." When he led me into the great hall, it was not the hush of fear that met us anymore, but something like awe. Wolves from every territory bowed as one. For the first time, their reverence didn't sting. At the dais, Kale stopped. "Do you feel that?" he whispered. "The quiet? The balance?" I nodded. "Yes. It's yours now." He turned to me, eyes bright as dawn. "No," he said. "It's ours." The hall erupted in a chorus of howls that shook the rafters, a song of unity the kingdom hadn't known in generations. And as Kale's hand found mine, as warmth replaced all the winters behind us, I finally understood. The Alpha King's fury had never needed taming, only seeing. And the blind Omega who had once walked into his storm would never walk in darkness again.